What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Bears show. Unfortunately, it's not one that I'm happy to deliver to you guys. I'm happy to be here talking to you, obviously, but I wish it was after a win, and I wish it was after a solid performance, but it was not. Before we go ahead and jump into things, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you become a patron today at www.thetapeneverlies.com. Once again, the Chicago Bears found a way to blow a double-digit lead late in the game. 3 times this year. Now, I know this isn't baseball, but 3 strikes, you're fucking out. And I'm sorry to lead off with profanity, but watching that game, and I did have to leave to work and stuff, but I was able to catch it at the very end and, here and there when I could. But rewatching it today just re-solidified the feelings that I have for this football team, for this regime, for how the future is going to unveil itself as we move forward. A lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of new questions that have come up, and it's always questions with the Bears. It's never answers. There's never solutions found, and sometimes we get this fool's gold, idea where it's like, oh, the Bears are playing well, and they are. On defense, I'll give the defense their fucking credit because the defense was on fucking fire again. They did exactly what I thought they should and would do. And you want to talk about 400 yards for Flacco? Yes, Joe Flacco late in the game played fucking hero ball and was successful at that and was on fire in the fourth quarter. But the defense was able to do their job. Period. 3 interceptions, including a fucking pick 6 off of Joe Flacco in a monsoon. It wasn't a monsoon. I wouldn't call it a monsoon, but in very ugly conditions, wet conditions ideal of a slugfest, right? But not for the Bears. Not for the Bears. It seems like every game we come out in shotgun. I think our identity is shitty spread team. That's kind of where I'm leading to it being. If we can't comprehend that playing in the slot like that in Cleveland against a tough defense that needs to be beaten up, that needs to be worn down with a good running attack. If your coordinator can't design a solid running attack against a team that needs to be exploited that way, that has very good pass rushers, that has very good defensive linemen up front, period. The Cleveland Browns, I know we talked about them being, the top defense in the league. They are way more impressive than I thought they were. I don't watch a lot of Browns games, but the Browns defensive line was aggressive, just relentless at coming after Justin Fields, at stopping the running attack. The running attack that was just running right into the line, that wasn't going off tackle. They were shutting down these gadget plays, these pitches, to the outside with your 230-pound running back that should be going off tackle, running at wherever Myles Garrett is. I feel like they should have audibled the run to wherever Myles Garrett was. If they were going to be going run and Myles Garrett was inside, well, by golly, run that shit right at him. Put a fullback in, get under center, and run that shit right at Myles Garrett. But we never did that. And we never seem to understand that. They stood in shotgun. They stood in pistol. They continued to run the jet sweep that never seems to work. We'll get to that later. And then just understanding of situational football, just understanding where we should go and who we should be utilizing is still, a huge question mark, a huge red flag with this football team and with this offensive coordinator and this coaching staff. I struggled to find where I wanted to, really get started, but I guess we'll go ahead and continue there because it was the biggest liability on the football field comes on Sunday against the Browns, the offense. You were able to score a touchdown, yes, but that was due to the defense. Eddie Jackson. If you guys watched the pregame, Eddie Jackson was my bold prediction to get an interception. And he did. He really did. Eddie Jackson still has, issues in coverage. His range is definitely not what it used to be anymore. But he was able to secure an interception. The Bears pass rush was able to, help assist with that. And I was riding high. I was like, okay, this could propel the offense to better things, right? This could help them really get going. And then it took 8-9 plays to get into the end zone. And you had these mistakes. You had a false start. You're still trying to run right at them instead of trying to just go off tackle. Get under center. Somebody needs to really pound the table at getting under center, putting your fullback in there and running that way. Like somebody really needs to teach Luke Getsy how to set up a running game, period. I don't understand what they're doing. No rhythm whatsoever in the running game. No rhythm in the passing game. It just seems like every game they rotate who they want to be and they don't execute the game plan at all, well at all. It just seems like you're just rotating what you want to be as a football team, game in and game, like a Jekyll and Hyde type of approach to offense. And it's very more Mr. Hyde than it is a Dr. Jekyll. So like something's got to give, right? Something's got to give. Listening to Matt Eberflus on ESPN 1000 with Waddle and Sylvie. Sylvie was really pressuring him. Waddle was asking some great questions too. Questions he couldn't get away from. Some backup questions that he really couldn't get away from. But he insisted that there will be no change at offensive coordinator as far as play calling is concerned. Play calling will still be Luke Getsy's job for the future, I guess, from here on out. I don't know until it can't be his job anymore. I don't know what they're going to do with Luke Getsy come the end of the season. But from what we've seen and from how they've approached the big situations in these big three games, right? These big three losses, I'm going to call them for this season, right? The Broncos game, the Lions game, the Browns game. The situational football fucking sucks. It's like they don't understand what they want, like where they want to go. Now, I like some of the aggression. Don't get me wrong. There's some plays that I really like. That I was like, okay, go for it here. But then you get a play like the jet sweep to Tyler Scott, and I'm like, why the fuck are you running this play? Why Tyler Scott? It seemed to me like everybody in the stadium knew it was going to Tyler Scott as soon as he went in motion. As soon as he went in motion to his right, I was like, oh, here it comes. Boom, Tyler Scott. Gets caught in the backfield, loss of 5-6 yards? It's just too predictable and just it's too maddening for me to consider them keeping a Luke Getzey. Like, this offense is too predictable, and I can't consider keeping him if I were Ryan Poles. It just hasn't worked. Your quarterback hasn't developed. Your run game, which is probably could be your best trait if done right, has regressed. I don't know if Deontay Foreman is hurt, but you just haven't seemed to find the rhythm that you need to really get these guys momentum going. Momentum seems to be so spotty with the Chicago Bears, and not just continual, like not just a stream. It's not straightforward. Everything's just very sporadic. It's like, maybe we run a couple good plays here, and then all of a sudden you're doing jet sweeps on 3rd and 4, and everybody in the world knows it's coming, right? Because that's what you do. That's what you've been known to do. That's what's on the tape. So they're looking for that. You've been scouted for that. There needs to be an adjustment. There needs to be a total understanding of what we've been forcing isn't working. And you could talk about the number 1 defense in the league, what have you, but that was watching what we saw on Sunday. There was pretty much a waving of the white flag. I don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing here on offense. Somebody help us. Like, that's how I saw it. Unfortunately, Tevin Jenkins got hurt. Excuse me. Let me get this eyelash out of my eye. Tevin Jenkins got hurt with a concussion on a freak play. I guess he stumbled, ran right into another player. I believe it was Myles Garrett. I don't think Myles Garrett's made of granite, but maybe. But he ended up knocking himself out on the chest of Myles Garrett. I was very scared, because when he laid out, I was just like, oh my God. He's just flat on the ground, face flat on the ground. Didn't move for a second. Then you saw some movement right away. I mean, it was about a second, and then you saw, some real movement where it wasn't, you were like, okay, he's up, he's awake, he's aware. And then you were like, okay, maybe he just hurt him, just got hurt, maybe just a stinger or something like that. But they ruled it a concussion, and you saw they had the camera catch him on this walking towards the sidelines. He, big bug-eyed, but way bigger than his eyes already are. Shaking his head, trying to blink it out, and I guess he knocked himself out on the chest of Myles Garrett, which, unfortunately for us, I believe affected the game. I really do. Tevin Jenkins, when healthy and went on the football field, is our best offensive lineman, hands down. And losing him in this situation against a top 10 team, probably number 1 in the league, it definitely affected the football game from that point forward. Let me go ahead and get some of your comments over here. Thank you guys for showing up. Will Jackal do shit? Corn, we'll see. We'll see. Jackal's got daddy duty, so we can't blame him. He's got to do his thing. So if Jackal shows up, great. I'll be happy. He could help out with some of the comments, but if not, we could catch him later. He'll always be welcome here and always be helping out. So you'll see Jackal hopefully later, but we'll see. Another Sunday of getting knocked in the dirt. I'm so glad we're getting our IV therapy early this week, much needed. Yeah, I'm tired of it too, Richard. Like, I'm tired of it too. I'm very, like, I'm trying to keep my emotions and the the I guess anger and rage I have to a minimum with them, because I know that there has to be a change. There's no getting around it. The way that they've operated so far in pro football games that are winnable, in situations where they are winning late in the game and they just piss down their leg, it's just, you can't imagine them being with the team moving forward. Now, looking at what Ryan Poles has done, I like the personnel. There's a lot of mistakes. There are mistakes with Ryan Poles, but I like the personnel. I think the Bears' talent can really take a step forward. It's just they're being, held back by a coaching staff. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying that they're horrible people. I'm just saying that they're not doing the job that needs to be done. They're just not good enough, period, from everybody, top to bottom. It has not been good enough. And if it's not good enough, well, then something needs to change. And I hope Kevin Warren is a guy to do that come this offseason. Raymond, what's up? What's up, brother? Brother Ivan, what's good? Hope you're feeling better. I am feeling a little bit better. Thank you. Happy Monday, TTNL family. Damn, bro, you had me thinking something was wrong. I don't know what could be wrong. Ivan, your shows have gotten really good. Thank you, Vince. Question for you guys. If Carolina, New England, Arizona all finish with 3 wins, we still get get the first overall pick, correct? I can't get a straight answer. Please help. Well, I think it would go to, if they haven't played a head-to-head, let's go check out the schedule. If they haven't played a head-to-head, I believe it would go to a point differential or strength of schedule. It could be one of those two. Let's see, schedule. Standings. Well, let me split this up. Yeah, I would imagine, I would imagine it would go to the either the strength of schedule or the point differential. I don't know which comes first. Let me see where the conference is. Conference. There we go. Yeah, so if they all finish with 3 wins, I believe it would go. Let's see. So you tie for number 1 pick. Yeah, we're gonna figure it out. If Jacko comes over here, Vince, I'm gonna go ahead and star your comment because I don't want to just hold us all up looking for it. That's a good question. I believe, like I said, I believe it goes to strength of schedule. It could be wrong. It could be point differential. But my biggest thing is, there's a lot of people that are just already, adamant that we're going to go ahead and get this number 1 pick. And if shit like what happened Sunday with the Carolina Panthers keeps happening, well, it could be a rough pill, a tough pill to swallow come draft time. If we planned for this, we got our hopes up, and all of a sudden we just don't have the the backing that we thought we had. We don't have the draft capital that we thought we were going to acquire when the season started and middle of the season, the way the Panthers have been playing. But they're a pro football team. There's a lot of pride. I'm sure in that locker room, they've been getting beat up. There's a lot of shit been talked about them. Coach got fired. I'm sure that there's a lot of fired up guys trying to go out there and play Grinch for the Carolina Panthers. So it's something to really think about. It's something to not take lightly. We have to have another plan. Like there's got to be a plan B for Ryan Poles if a situation like that occurs where the Carolina Panthers some way somehow don't acquire the number 1 pick. The Bears could have an escape route, if you will, on how to approach having a pick lesser than number 1. Looking at going back to the game, I talked about the last 3 games. There was a good graphic on 670 of the scores Instagram page. It showed the 3 games that the Bears lost, the winning percentage for those games: 98.1 against the Denver Broncos, 98.2 versus the Lions, and 91.3 win percentage versus the Broncos right before they went ahead and made their runs. The percentage of losing all 3 of those games, right? The percentage of losing all 3, 0.003% chance to lose all 3, and the Bears just seem to find a way to pull off the the miracle BS that they always seem to pull off. Here we go. Coach Dre, strength of schedule, I think, is first and then points. So you see, that's what I was thinking. That's what I had thought. If anybody else in the chat, knows, let me know. Here we go. Corn tiebreakers. Oh, here we go. Corn tiebreakers, strength of schedule, division tiebreakers, conference tiebreakers, interconference tiebreakers, coin toss. Well, there you go. There you have it. Thank you, Corn. So it would go to strength of schedule, and let's see who has the stronger strength of schedule. Would it be the Carolina Panthers, the New England Patriots, or the Cardinals, who we play this week? And I think that I feel like the Bears are just going to go ahead and take care of business. There's going to be no horseplay. I don't think you're gonna see a tank against the Cardinals. I think they will try to handle business. I think they'll try to embarrass the Cardinals, especially on defense, after having something like this happen to them. And I mean, yeah, it's probably a given, seeing as the Bears beat up on garbage team, the bum slayers, if you will. I mean, you had Detroit, right? You're beating Detroit. You're beating, Cleveland. You did end up coming back and beating Detroit, which is great. But the majority of the teams that you beat, handedly, or where, you feel like, oh wow, maybe they've made a step, aren't very great. They aren't very great. So I feel like they are going to come out and beat the crap out of the Cardinals, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But if they were to go out there and we see any form of laying down or any form of tanking where they're not, pedal to the metal, I'm there's no other choice but to fire this team, and there would be questions about Ryan Poles even, because he would have had to have allowed something like this. And I don't think he was trying. He's trying to, but I'm only speaking hypothetically. I think if they go ahead and pull some shit like that, you have to fire the coach immediately. And I know they won't. And I know they won't. But if they were to pull something like that, you'd have to fire the coach immediately. And Kevin Warren would seriously have to think about firing Ryan Poles, which would suck. So, and like I said, I don't think Ryan Poles hates his roster. I think Ryan Poles doesn't like how the outcome has unfolded. I don't think he likes how the process has unfolded. Now, I like to think that Ryan Poles could separate, business and his personal life. But what I mean by that is, his affinity for Matt Eberflus as a person, as a coach, that's fine. I'm not going to say that Matt Eberflus is a piece of shit, Ryan Poles is a liar, or whatever. I could believe that. I don't think Matt Eberflus is a piece of shit human being. But Ryan Poles needs to realize that if the outcome continues to play itself out like this, there's no other choice for you but to move on. And I know it's like a band-aid right off. You're gonna have to do that. But in order to grow as a GM, admit your mistake, work with a guy like Kevin Warren who has experience, and let's really find somebody that's qualified to run this organization or to run this football team for the better and into the future. And I'm not going to go ahead and continue to talk about the same dude over and over and over again. I'm just saying, whoever it is, it needs to be somebody who has the experience in big time situations, has the knowledge of developing players, and can utilize his team's talent to the best of their abilities. Whoever that may be, I don't know. Would Warren say not fire Flus? I don't think Warren would say not fire Flus. No, not at all. I think Warren wanted to get involved because he wants to have more say in what the future entails for the Chicago Bears come this offseason. Now, with all the, with everything that we've seen, what would I think? Bye-bye. And even with Justin, I'm telling you, I'm a Justin guy. Even with Justin, it's a huge question mark. and I'm quite sure that it'll be easier to get rid of Justin for Ryan Poles than it would to get rid of Eberflus. I feel like that's truer than not. I know it's speculation on my part, but I feel like it's truer than not. That it would be harder to get rid of Eberflus because of how the defense has been playing, and because of Justin's struggles, and because of the unknown with Justin. It'd be easier to get rid of Justin than it would to get rid of Eberflus. And I don't, like I said, Eberflus is not my guy. I'm not a Eberflus apologist. I'm not a Eberflus stan. It's just how it's just how they've expressed themselves about Eberflus. It's just how they've how his demeanor is. He doesn't seem like he seems like he's drowning at the mic, but as of late, he seems like a guy that knows he's going to be around. A little bit more defiant, but he seems like a guy that knows he's going to be around for a little while, and that terrifies me. Because if in the next few games, let's say we get to Green Bay, let's forget, let's skip ahead. Cardinals, Falcons, whatever may be in those two games. Let's get to Green Bay in Green Bay. They're going to want to embarrass this football team like never before. I feel like they sense that once again we're on the ropes. I feel like everybody in the league has had us under a microscope trying to figure out, what is the problem. And also, it's been very easy to figure out the solutions to stopping us on offense. You've had the critics trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with us. You've had defensives just exploiting us week in and week out. There needs to be a change. There needs to be something done. You cannot have 3 historic losses like this. These are things that just don't happen. And I remember the 49er game, Mike Brown pick 6, back-to-back weeks against the Niners and the Browns. I remember those games. Those games, that shit doesn't happen like that. It was a freak. It was like a freak game, but this isn't a freak game. This is a trend. 2 is freaky. This is a trend. Your own team has been. It was calling him out. Darnell Mooney, vividly frustrated, they said in the locker room, expressed that he thought they got complacent in the third quarter, that they didn't step on the gas in the third quarter. I think it was something to the effect of that everybody was happy that we were winning, but we weren't, they just lost focus of the task at hand. So it was something to that effect where they just weren't focused enough in that third quarter. And then they started chipping away. Then the Browns started hanging around, and boom, you got once again. And this is a coaching issue as well as a player issue, because there was a lot of drops out there that should have been fucking big time plays. Robert Tonyan, excuse me, real quick while I grab a drink. Robert Tonyan, wide open downfield. It was a good play call. Justin out of the pocket, making a play. He had to jump throw. It was a dime. But with everything Justin did, it was exactly what you expect Justin Fields to do when he's successful. Rolling out, looking downfield, keeping the play alive, throwing a dime ball, a nice, a beautiful deep ball on the money, and Robert Tonyan drops it. We talk about discipline. We talk about focus. You cannot have that. With a team that lacks big plays, you can absolutely not have a drop like that. Period. I don't know what else to say. Robert Tonyan's been a huge disappointment for me. I'm sure other people feel the same way. I have not, felt like Robert Tonyan has been effective since maybe preseason. Maybe. And I thought he was going to be very effective helping out Cole Kmet as a second tight end this year coming in, and it has not been the case. And then this. Very frustrating, to say the least. So, for me, I'm looking for them to come into this game against the Cardinals and really try to force this Getsy identity, whatever it is. I think they'll find success because the Cardinals aren't a good team. I think you'll find some, busted coverages where the Cardinals get beat, or some of our skill players, break a long one, break a couple tackles, maybe get big gains. Our defense, I feel like, is going to be on fire because they did everything but win the game. The defense did for the offense, for the team. You're scoring on defense. You're generating turnovers. You're frustrating their quarterback. Before he had 400 yards at the end of the game, prior to that fourth quarter, Joe Flacco only had about 160-something yards. Frustrated, about 164 yards. I saw the graphic earlier. I should have written it down, but it wasn't like Joe Flacco was tearing it up all game long. Your team just lost focus in the fourth quarter, which shouldn't be happening with a team that's, coach has this philosophy and this identity that should promote discipline, focus. It should be, I thought we got past this idea of, we've been talking to them about finishing. You need to look in the mirror as a coaching staff and talk to yourself about finishing. How do you do it? Player execution is also important. I understand that. But these losses, these fall squarely at the feet of Matt Eberflus. Squarely at the feet. Let's see. I'm sorry, trying to get some of these questions Vince, if Flus is gone, which most of us will want, who are some good candidates? I would love Jim Harbaugh, but I doubt Bears might make a move. There's was it Brad Johnson or Brian Johnson? The OC for the Lions, the OC for the Bengals and the Rams. Always a risk though. I think there's one dude, man. I think there's one dude that should be targeted, and it's Jim Harbaugh. Like I think if you go ahead and try to go the route of young, first time head coach, we're really just going in circles again, right? This this ownership group, this and it's not a group, it's just it's one family, but they got a board, they got a few investors and stuff. So they just seem to want a certain personality running their football team as like a face. Like they're trying to sell it as it's their product, right? But they don't want their products, one of the faces of the product to be somebody who's a little rough around the edges, if you will, right? So a guy like Jim Harbaugh, who has ruffled some feathers, well documented in San Francisco, he is a huge question mark. You know, the issues Ditka had with Michael McCaskey, like I'm sure there were some wars. Like I'm sure there was things like obviously before before the internet, before Twitter, and before you could find out things instantly and have everybody have a camera where everything gets caught. I'm sure there were some straight up dog fights behind closed doors. Like probably came to blows close to, if not fully, with Ditka and with Michael McCaskey. Now you got a personality of a coach. The guy won a Super Bowl, rubbed people the wrong way in the front office. They started to go a little bit differently. Even with Wannstedt was a little bit. He was like Ditka light. I feel like. They were able to deal with Dave a little bit more than Mike. But then they went completely, totally away from the tough guy type of persona, right? Let's go with Dick Duran. And I'm not saying Dick Duran was a bad coach. I'm not saying he was a bad coach. It's the personality that they started to go after. Lovie Smith, he had his demeanor, calm, and I'm not saying calm coaches are bad coaches. I'm just saying if that's what you're fucking looking for, if the personality of the coach is the most important thing and not the outcome of what he brings to the table is more important, then I just don't know if this team could get out of its own way. I don't know if we're ever going to fucking win, because I get that it's a great value to have, but if the guy can get people motivated and the guy ruffles a little bit of feathers, and the guy develops your players, and you end up winning, and you have this edge, and you develop an identity, then that's something that you're going to have to sacrifice to gain. It's like you have to give and take. So for me, a guy like Jim Harbaugh would be perfect. Whoever he is, whoever it is, I hope that there's a connection with the next quarterback. I hope that there's a connection with the next quarterback, and I hope that it's an offensive-minded guy that has the play calling experience, right? Has play calling experience. Well, if he wants an OC to help out or whatever, a name only, whatever. But if the head coach has the experience, that's the guy I want. I mean, all fingers to me point to one guy, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, my biggest fear is that they go ahead and keep them all after this, which I would be truly just, it would be a gut punch for me if they were to keep everybody intact. Even though I like Justin, if they just try to run it back, I feel like it would be the biggest gut punch to find out, because you have this opportunity to gain real experience with somebody who's taken talent to the Super Bowl, who's utilized a solid running game, who ran first. Frank Gore, that whole team in San Francisco, run first. Kaepernick he was great for them, rolling him out, getting him on the run, play action with Colin Kaepernick. Then their defense was on fire. We'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes. Let me get back to this game a bit. You know, like I said, that Robert Tunyon pass was huge. There was way more. You had Taylor Scott on the sideline late. You could say that the ball was high, it was thrown high, but you get two hands on it, you got to come down with the pass. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just what it is. You get two hands on the ball, you have to come down with the football. Darnell had a very rough game this past Sunday. Darnell Mooney. Few drop passes, the dropped Hail Mary, questions about his effort in blocking. I don't know where Darnell's going to be next year. I don't think it's going to be with the Bears. It just, talk about an ugly way to go if that's the case, because I don't have an issue with Darnell Mooney. Like I really wished him success, like true success. I was hoping that he would be a guy that would stick with us for a long time and be reliable. But I don't know. After the season, I don't think the Bears or Darnell Mooney will benefit from sticking around, for keeping each other around. So Darnell, I think, will be moving on, in my opinion. But it was just an ugly game for him. You saw him at the end, head down, helmet off. Just can't believe that he dropped that ball in his hands. Like I was jumping in the break room yelling because I thought he caught it, and then it fucking kicks off his leg, and the rest is history. So for Darnell, like I said, I hope in these next few games that something clicks, but I don't think it will, and I think him and the Bears will be moving on next year. Now, third and I believe 15 late in the game, this Justin Jones play, right? Where Njoku catches it. Justin Jones is in coverage. Again, I like the idea to gamble and blitzing, right? Bringing pressure. But if it's putting your defensive tackle in coverage and your hope is, hey, we need to run pressure on this guy. We want to get the ball out quick. We want to make a mistake, and surprise, we have a D tackle there. I get that. I can understand the idea of it, but at that situation, I just felt like you didn't have to send the house. You could have sent one guy. You know what I mean? You didn't have to send. I didn't believe you had to send Brisker at that time. You could have sent two guys. Like your front four was able to get to the quarterback without any help throughout the game. So I understand, and like I said, I like being aggressive, but I felt like there was another way to go about it. I felt like you could have, called a different type of zone blitz if that's what you wanted to do. But having him in coverage in the biggest spot of the game is a huge gamble. A huge gamble that with a veteran quarterback and an athlete like Njoku, and how Njoku is just kicking our ass really throughout the whole game, not where I would have went, in my opinion. And everything's in retrospect, but not where I would have went at all. Looking at the game, listening to Cap and J Hood this morning. Cap read out a stat. Since 2015, teams with 3+ sacks, 3+ interceptions, and a pick six were 40-0. 40-0 until Sunday with the Chicago Bears. It's just there's just things that they've been doing that just continue to add to the weight, to the burden that Chicago Bears fans have had. And I hope that we can find a way to get past this season, to erase this season from our memory come this off season. And I hope that the sun is just beyond the horizon. Like, we're just about to get to our destination, but I just don't see it with this coaching staff. I don't see it with this offensive coordinator, this head coach at all. So I feel like moving on is our best bet. If we're going to go ahead and look at this Cardinals game, as I go ahead and wrap a little bit early, it's going to need to be a lot better than, and I'm going to go ahead and read you guys the drive list for the Chicago Bears. It's going to have to be a lot better than 5 punts and an interception in the first half. I know they had the touchdown, but I really credit that to the defense. I mean, Eddie Jackson was right there. I thought he was going to get in. Offense did score, but you can't be having 4-play drives for 1 minute and 47 seconds of time possession, 5 yards. You can't have 4-play drives for -9 fucking yards. There's multiple drives they had in this game. Now, look at in the second half, first drive of the second half, 5 plays, -4 yards. Not even a minute of time of possession, and we're punting away. That's not good enough. That's not going to be good enough against the Cardinals either. So, like I said, I feel like the Bears are going to bounce back from it. But if you have a performance like this, there has to be some type of decision made, whether it be from Coach Eberflus replacing the play caller, or from the front office in a shocking move, and moving on from one of the two coaches in season. I don't think that'll happen, but I think moving on from the play caller is more likely than somebody getting fired. But we'll see. Another drive, the last drive, or the drive prior to the last drive, 5 plays, -2 yards, 1 minute and 18 seconds of time of possession. 3 drives, -yards? -yards on 3 drives? I know they're the best. They're a great defense on that side, but this is 2023. Like, you can't just be generating, negative yards and expecting people not to want some accountability. You can't continue to run the same shit out there and expect there to be a change. I thought Luke Getsy was going to adjust. I thought we understood that the running game was our friend. Obviously, we have not. I hope that the Chicago Bears this week make the adjustment, get Justin under center a little bit more, start running a little more to the outside, outside zone with Deontay Foreman, with Roschon Johnson. I hope they start simplifying shit. But it could be just it could be just me, with wishful thinking, and me being that fan that's a complete nut and thinking that there's going to be a little bit of a change here and there. It's just not going to happen. I hope it's going to happen, but it's just I don't feel very confident in Luke Getsy making an adjustment to his scheme at all this season. At all, period. I don't think there will be any type of adjustment whatsoever. I thought they were going to be great after the bye. They finally killed the demon of the bye week, post bye week, the post bye week demon. They finally slayed against Detroit. I thought we were moving forward. I thought there were big things ahead. Fool's gold. Fool's gold. Arizona's not a good team. I expect the Chicago Bears to come out there, play really good defense once again. Offense, flip a coin, man. Like, honestly, flip a coin. Where do you feel like the offense is going to try to attack? Through the air? That's my bet. They had a situation, or they had a game where I felt trying to utilize a run would be your best case scenario, and it just never happened. It just never happened. It didn't look like they wanted it to happen either. Justin Fields passing the ball over 40 times. Is it over 40 times? Let me make sure I got that right. No, exactly 40 times. 19 of 40, 166 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Now, the 2 picks, they're 2 picks. They're on his record. But I'm not going to go ahead and hold them, above his head. He throwing Hail Marys up at late in the game, or late in the half, and then late in the game. It is what it is. That shit happens when you run plays like that. What I am going to say is I just feel like it's not good enough from Justin. With as much as I love him as a player, think he's a young guy that can develop into a great leader. There needs to be a step forward. There needs to be a step forward. There needs to be more clean games. And I thought like I said, thought we were getting to this. I thought we were leading up to it. I just think it's the product of playing bad teams, having good matchups against lesser teams, and taking advantage of those matchups. Right now, I don't think the Bears players are quitting, but I don't think they had the confidence that they had, a few weeks ago, maybe before the bye. Like, you can't keep giving us the same excuses of fundamentals. So you're telling me that the fundamentals that you were supposed to, teach and instill into this football team for the past 2 years still aren't clicking. It falls on the coach. But I think the Bears as a whole, as a locker room, play for each other. I don't think anybody's trying to quit out there on the football field. I think they just, similar to what Justin Jones says, we run the plays that are called. And yes, Justin Jones was not at fault. It's not. What is he going to do? They made the adjustment. We got caught. Game over. He's just doing his job out there. Can you imagine if he didn't do his job? He was just, nah, fuck you. I'm just going to go play my position. We got butt naked and Njoku butt naked running down the sideline, free for a touchdown. No, Justin Jones wasn't at fault. It was just the wrong play call. Like I said, I like the aggressiveness. I just think that it could have been a different type of blitz. That doesn't put your defensive tackle into coverage. It's just me. It is not a tall glass of tequila. It is water. I do have some Guinness right here. but I've been sipping the water too. Um, yeah, it's got to keep your you know got to keep your vocals lubricated. Go ahead and clip that if anybody wants to, but yeah, you gotta stay hydrated over here, bro. Talking is it dries you up. Let's see. Eberflus should be out the door right beside Getzey. I agree. Players always play hard for any coach. They are playing for their next contracts. Players are not in the tanking game plan. That's management. Absolutely, Caesar. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. If if like I said, if that were the case come this Sunday, because we know how bad the Cardinals are. If that were the case this Sunday, well, I would, like I said, I would say I would have a lot more questions about Ryan Poles than I did prior to this season, and it would be very, very. It would piss me the fuck off. Point blank, it would piss me the fuck off. Like there would be no reason for me to watch the rest of the games. Would there? Like knowing that we're actively trying to lose, or even having any type of inkling of them tanking in the next 3 games, especially against Green Bay, it doesn't bode well for anybody in that organization if that were to happen. They have to try to win. They still have to try to win. Like I know they lost, but right here you got to try to win out. Win your next 3 games some way somehow. I know the defense is going to hold up its end of the bargain, but will this offense do the same? I think we've already come to the conclusion that probably not. Probably not. Still be there though. I'll still be watching because I got a problem. I got a Bears problem. We all got a Bears problem, man. Yeah, exactly, Coach Dre. Tanking is a loser mentality. It doesn't work. Like I didn't mind it last season, but that's because you just tore your entire team apart. It's like they weren't even expecting to win. They were expecting to play the game, but they weren't expecting to win. This you came out here expecting to win, and then all of a sudden to switch from we're going to be taking steps to yeah we're going to be tanking again. I can't do that shit. Like that's where I draw the fucking line. You can't have this mulligan in professional football. You can't have a redo after having the season that you had last year and having the season that you're having so far. It's can't do it. Like Mike Singletary said, can't do it. Seriously, I think we had the Bears finishing with 7 wins this season. Yeah, I had them with 6. If you had them with 7, Derek, yeah, that's about where I saw. I thought 7 was realistic. I think 8 I said was the best case scenario. Like if all went well, 8 was where I saw them. Where they win close games, they beat a team that they probably shouldn't have. Yeah, I thought that could have happened, but my goal, my target was 6, realistically. 3 games is progress. I was hoping to see better progress on the offense. We've seen it on the defense instead, which is good. Which is good. We know we have quality talent on defense, and they're young, they're fast, they're hungry. We got to get younger and faster in the secondary, or in the back end with the safeties. But I feel like they're on the right path with the defense. It's just where you go with this offense. I have no clue. I have no clue. Real quick, I want to go talk about that safety help. Again, I still question Jaquan Brisker. Jaquan Brisker, very active, very physical. Like I said, downhill type of safety. In coverage, I just have these question marks. There was a touchdown pass to Njoku early on. Brisker's locked up on him. They're in the back of the end zone, but he doesn't turn his head around It's like all you had to do was turn your head around. And Joku's got the height advantage. You get your head turned around, and you go ahead and you take away the inside of the field, and he's closer to the sideline. Now you could go ahead and play the man. I mean, you're going to have to keep your hand on him, but you never even tried to turn and look at what the quarterback was doing. And you ended up getting mossed. You got mossed. So, like Jaquan Brisker, I like him as a young player. He could get better, but in coverage, it's just a lot of question marks, a lot of work to be done. Can he overcome it? Yeah, I believe he can. You know, he's young enough to get better. But we'll see. We'll see moving forward. Guys, I think the Bears are going to go ahead and take next week. I think the Bears are going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. We'll go ahead by a score of 24-13. If I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a prediction, I would say Montez Sweat has 3 sacks. Montez Sweat gets 3 sacks. Bears win 24-13. And we move on to Atlanta, I believe, and 2 more weeks left after that. I'll be at the Atlanta game on New Year's Eve with my brothers. We're trying to make this a tradition. If you guys saw me last year, I was in the bunny suit on Christmas Eve. I will be there once again, but this time on New Year's Eve. I might find an outfit to wear. I don't know. Might find something ridiculous to put on and embarrass my wife with. But yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I really enjoyed being here with you guys. I hate that it's like this because we've been looking and hoping and waiting for improvement, for something to cheer about, for something to look forward to, and we're just left with a lot of questions and no answers in sight. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Glad you guys came out. You guys have been watching another Bears show. Before you guys take off, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you go ahead and become a patron at www.thetapeneverlies.com. The best $7 you can spend. You'll get breakdowns from GDP, pop-up shows, updates about Bears injuries, Bears content, all that good stuff. The best Bears content on the planet. Coach Ray, you got one more. Realistically, though, Ivan, if the new coach wants a 30 front on D, then it's another rebuild. I agree, but I think there's going to be some type of adjustment. Like I said, there's going to be some type of compromise. My fear it's going to be Eberflus staying and them finding some type of, another offensive coordinator. But even then, another young offensive coordinator is not what I'd want. If you're talking about a Greg Roman type, okay, we could talk. But for me, I'm just a hardball guy. Like I know it's gonna, people are gonna be like, well, you got to open your mind and be flexible, and I will. But there's one guy out there that I feel like could fix this, and I'm gonna stick with him. We'll see what happens, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna go crack another Guinness, and no tequila. This would fucking kill you, to be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe not some people, but a tequila glass like that would fucking put me out. I appreciate you guys. Bear down. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure you guys check out Keeping It 100 this Wednesday. I think we have a guest. I'm gonna go ahead and wait to go ahead and announce the guest. But I go ahead and check out Keeping It 100 this Wednesday. Make sure you check out Cars Keys on Thursday, and of course, make sure you check out all of us on Sunday. Another pregame show. Make sure you check out the halftime show if you're a patron, and of course, BHL right after the game. See you guys next week. We'll see you guys this week. We'll see you guys all the time. Peace.